Kevin Durant is arguably the most lethal bucket getter in NBA history. An offensive machine who's basically automatic for mid-range and carries guard-like handles that doesn't match his near 7-foot frame. Simply put, this guy is a basketball anomaly. But setting aside his individual greatness, I've never seen a basketball player as accomplished and well decorated as he is failed time and time again. And when the going gets tough, it's kind of weird because KD would always put his teammates under the bus and never point the finger at himself. And now he's at it again. Recent news came out that says KD is reportedly frustrated with his supporting cast in Phoenix, and part of which has something to do with Bradley Beal's availability. And I don't know if this is just a coincidence or not, because almost exactly 1 year before, he did the exact same thing with his Nets teammates by roasting them publicly. And I quote, "Look at our starting lineup: Edmund Sumner, Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris, Nick Claxton, and me. It's not disrespectful, but what are you expecting from that group?" KD may have a bit of a point there, but still, putting your team in a bad light doesn't do you any good. And despite teaming up with some of the best players and super teams in recent memory, Durant would always come up short. Or come up with reasons why he comes up short, to say the least. And before you know it, he will request for a trade and prepare to do the same thing all over again to his next team. With this said, let's get to the bottom of this. Why a player with Kevin Durant's caliber continues to fail, regardless if he's fully healthy or surrounded with the best talents that the NBA has to offer. Well, the very first reason behind this is that despite how great he is as a hooper, Durant has failed to become the true leader in the teams that he played in. See, being a leader is totally different from being the number one guy on the team. I mean, when Kawhi played for the Spurs, we all know that Tim Duncan was the leader of that team. But when he carried the Raptors in the 2019 NBA Finals to become champions, that's the time Kawhi earned his stripes and became a true leader. Now, after KD left OKC to join the Warriors, KD turned out to be not the leader of that team, because Draymond was, and to some extent, it was also Steph. See, being the first scoring option or the alpha doesn't automatically make you a leader. However, there are some exceptions to this, such as LeBron, MJ, and post-Shaq Kobe. Durant wants to receive the same recognition and level of respect as the last three players that I just mentioned. He wanted to be the leader and the number one guy at the same time. But sadly, despite how hard he tries to become both, he just always turns out to be a mercenary rental scorer with zero leadership qualities. And true enough, when KD was criticized for his leadership and the lack thereof, KD responded by saying, "I'm not a leader? What the fuck does that mean?" Now don't get me wrong, I totally understand why he said that, because I think he's just being honest with himself. KD doesn't care about anything else other than hooping, so to speak. Regardless of whether his team is up or down by 30, KD's gonna do what he's always been doing, and that is put buckets on the scoreboard. But see, KD is not just your average NBA player. He's a 13-time All-Star, a league MVP, a back-to-back finals MVP, and when you're that accomplished, there's a certain degree of leadership responsibility attached to it, whether you like it or not. And as Stephen A said,
"I understand you might not be that dude. Fair enough. There's a lot I might not be. There's a lot that you might not be. But when it's costing us the chip, whatever our definition of the chip is, all of a sudden you gotta modify. You can't be married to what you ain't and don't even try to be something more just because that's not you. You gotta try. You gotta keep pushing." And that's what I would challenge KD to do.
If only KD tried at least once to be a leader, then I believe we wouldn't be having this conversation right now, or any other time for that matter. But see, here's where I'm still confused with KD. As you saw in the previous graphics, Durant has time and time again called out his teammates in public. And this is where it got me thinking. What kind of right did KD have for him to do that, if he's not their leader? See, if an employee makes a mistake, the boss has the right to call him or straighten up. But if you're not the boss, or the leader in this case, then it's like you're just brewing trouble and destroying the chemistry of your own locker room. I mean, since KD said he's not a leader, then he's just an average superstar in my view. And if my memory serves me right, I can't remember other superscorers who blasted their teammates publicly and requesting for a trade afterward like T-Mac. Jordan, and even if Kobe did call his teammates soft one time, that was done in private, and the goal of that was to motivate them to play hard and play better, not to cause chaos or hostility within the team. So, on one end, KD is acting like a leader by speaking his mind about his teammates, forcing the team to bend backwards just to meet all his demands. And on the other end, he's saying to the media that he's not a leader, that he's just a pure baller who doesn't care about anything non-basketball related. But if you look at his history, from OKC to Golden State to the Nets and now in Phoenix, KD has always had issues. And these are not X's and O's issues or something that's got to do on the court, but it's mostly off-court drama about his burner accounts, why he didn't fit in, and his petty quarrels against his former teammates. I mean, if KD is a straight-up hooper, which a lot of people claim him to be, then KD could have just put his head down and worked night in and night out, regardless of who he's playing with and the situation around the team. But no. When things fall apart, that's where KD starts to say, I don't like this guy nor that guy, or I don't feel like I belong here. And eventually he'll be like, I'm out of here. Please get me traded. Anyway, the other reason why KD keeps failing is that his concept of winning basketball is actually not winning basketball. And what I mean by that is, give the ball to KD and everyone just gets the hell out of his way. We've seen this time and time again, from OKC to Golden State, Nets, and now in Phoenix, that even though he scores a bunch of points, it doesn't always translate to a win. I mean, sure, there are times that KD can single-handedly carry a team on his back, and the fact that he's as clutch as it gets. But overall, and in the long run, his one-man wrecking crew strategy isn't gonna cut it anymore, especially come playoff time where teams can adjust quickly on a game-to-game basis. See, although he's one of the lethal scorers in the NBA history, hero ball mode doesn't work at this time and age. And this was clearly pointed out by Steve Kerr to KD back when he was still playing in the Bay Area.
When MJ was with the Bulls, we had a playoff game, and he kept trying to score. And he was scoring, but we weren't getting anything going. Phil Jackson said, who's open? I said, John Paxson. I want you to trust your teammates early. What you're doing is you're getting to the rim, and then you're trying to hit them. I want you to trust the first guy, and then move. Still attack, still look to score, but trust these guys, okay?
To put it simply, what Kerr said, KD has been trying too much, and it's costing him more losses than wins. In this season, the Suns are just 8-12 when Durant scores 28 points or more. But when KD has 10 assists or more, the Suns are actually 3-1. The point I'm making here is that the defense in the NBA has improved significantly over the years, and scoring has picked up well, which is why scoring 40 or 50 a night doesn't guarantee wins. And with this said, KD should change his approach already, because it's predictable and unsustainable, because he'll just gas out in the late game. Anyway, with KD calling out his Suns teammates, it's looking like the loop of my teammate sucks, I want to get traded to my preferred destination, and I'll be just hooping like nothing happened. It's once again emerging for KD. And if he doesn't fix this and assume responsibility for his actions, then KD will not fail anymore, since there will be no team willing to take such a player with that kind of demeanor.